Many aspects of life are recovering speedily from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. But food production in many agricultural beds of the African continent are still struggling to keep the chain of food supplies at a level to sustain sufficiency and prices low for the consumption of the continent's vast poor population. Now, conversations around the adoption of safe biotechnology to aid the building of resilient food systems in Africa is resonating among experts. Affected regional governments in the Lake Chad Basin are not resting their oars to restore stability to the area renowned for massive food production. The fallout of the third meeting of the Governors Forum of the Lake Chad Basin will be served to you on this package of the program. I am Charles Alpha, welcoming you to Africa Weekly. Worried by the increasing threats to food security in many countries of Africa, the Open Forum of Agricultural Biotechnology believes it's about time the continent adopts more application of safe biotechnology to guarantee adequate and sustainable food systems for the respective countries.
The rains are becoming unstable, the soil is becoming degraded with low productivity as a result of climate change and insect infestation. These have therefore affected food production across the African continent, increasing hunger and malnutrition, as well as poverty among farmers. The introduction of Open Forum for Agricultural Biotechnology is to promote modern farming system that will resist challenges associated with weather and diseases. Rose Gidado is the Nigeria's coordinator of the forum. She says the country has made a significant progress in adopting the technology.
Biotics targets the poor resource farmers, so that they can access improved seeds. So for us to commercialize, to make it accessible to farmers, we need to have a safety valve in place.
2 agencies have been established in Nigeria for the purpose of promoting and regulating the adoption of biotechnology. Professor Abdullahi Mustafa is the Director General, Biotechnology Development Agency.
When you look at it from the perspective that Mr. President's agenda is to secure the nations in terms of food security. So this is in line with the federal government policies.
In spite of this, no farmer or organization is permitted to produce, process, edit or market any kind of genetically modified crop without the approval of the National Biosafety Management Agency.
Joining us now to examine this issue is the Director General of the National Biosafety Management Agency, Dr. Rufus Ebegba. Doctor, I want to say thank you very much for coming on the program, Africa Weekly.
It's my pleasure to be on your program.
Okay, now can you give us an insight on what safe biotechnology for agriculture is all about?
When we're talking about safe biotechnology, it means it's a biotechnology process that have undergone biosafety assessment. In that regard, you're looking at the issue of biosafety. How is genetically modified organisms, which are products of modern biotechnology, can be used safely, and even the application of the biotechnology itself to ensure that the agricultural products that are being produced using biotechnology are safe to the environment. In essence, biosafety is a safety and economic enabler in the use of modern biotechnology, particularly in the field of agriculture, to ensure that the activities of modern biotechnology that leads to the enhancement in agricultural productivity do not have any harm on the environment and human health, and also has economic value for the farmers, to the nation, and to the general economy.
Okay, as a country, where are we in the application of safe biotechnology in food production?
As a country, Nigeria as a country has actually evolved right from 2015, even before 2015. Various attempts have been made by government agencies, by the Ministry of Environment and Agriculture, to say that there is enabling law in the application of modern biotechnology, and that has led to the promulgation, to the enactment of a law known as National Biosafety Management Agency Act 2015. But prior to 2015, there has been a national policy, there's been a policy on biotechnology, and also the existence of a National Biotechnology Development Agency to promote biotechnology in general in the application of, to ensure it is used for the enhancement of the health sector, agriculture, and the development of raw materials, as well as to ensure environmental sustainability. But the law of 2015 has actually brought Nigeria to the fore in the area of the application of modern biotechnology in enhancing the agricultural sector. And since the promulgation of that law, Nigeria has been able to establish a National Biosafety Management Agency with the full mandate to ensure that the application of modern biotechnology is carried out safely, and the products are also safe to the environment and human health. They also have economic value. And since that time, apart from the creation of the agency has also taken some major strides in ensuring the development of various guidelines and also policy and regulations pursuant to the Act, so that the law can be effectively implemented, and also the law does not impede the technology as well.
At the continental level, are there synergies going on between your agency and similar ones?
Yes, at the continental level, let me talk about the sub-region. In West Africa, Nigeria has been at the forefront of trying to develop a common biosafety regulation, so that because the issue of agricultural product movement in the sub-region, it doesn't seem to have a boundary. So Nigeria has to ensure that it drives the process to see that other West African members, ECOWAS member states, have a common ground to ensure safety of biotech products before they are deployed. So there's this common biosafety regulation that is being developed at the sub-regional level. And at the continental level, Nigeria is a major player, and I can tell you that within the short phase of our existence as a country, we have been able to rise to state that we are now the chair of the African Biosafety Regulators Forum. So it also shows that we are a major player, and these countries, the member of the African Union, we discuss to see how we can have a common template, so that the issues of biosafety can have a common background in the African continent, because these products of biotechnology are going to be moving in the various markets of Africa. So there's need for synergy, for a need for cooperation. I'll also tell you that the various guidelines that Nigeria has developed have also really experienced global and continental, involvement, particularly the Africa Union Development Agency under the African Biosafety Network of Expertise. So most of our guidelines, the African Union has also assisted to see that we develop guidelines out of international standard. And apart from that, under the UN system, under the Convention on Biological Diversity, Nigeria is also a major player in ensuring that the Cartagena Protocol, which is a global treaty on biosafety, Nigeria is a major player. We have rendered our reports as when due, and also participated in various negotiations.
Okay, now before we let you go, Doctor, Nigeria is a major player in this business. But what, in your professional opinion, is the future of safe biotechnology in agriculture?
Safe biotechnology is the future of modern agriculture. Any country that wants to have food and nutritional security must embrace safe biotechnology. When I say safe biotechnology, the one that have been certified safe through a biosafety application process. And also the global cry, the demand for green economy will be driven by safe modern biotechnology. So any country that does not brace up to embrace technology, science and technology, such a country may not be able to fit into the new world.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Dr. Rufus there on biotechnology for agriculture. We will now take a quick break. Africa Weekly returns to you with a tidbit segment. Please stay with us. In Sudan, the government has raised alarm that food and medicine will soon become difficult to come by. The blocking of access to the port of Sudan by protesters is crippling the economy of Sudan.
Roads around Port Sudan have been barricaded and the Red Sea ports forced to close for the past 2 weeks. Demonstrators from the Berger tribe have been protesting against what they say is a lack of political power and poor economic conditions. The protest started as the country is marking 1 year since the signing of the Juba Agreement between the government and the rebel groups. That was meant to resolve years-long conflicts. But members of the Berger tribe claim they have been excluded from it.
Again, about the equitable distribution of wealth. I mean, the beggars, as you've seen, they are a very nomadic community, and they genuinely and legitimately believe that in terms of the amount of resources that comes from the eastern Sudanese part, which of course links the Nile, it's not equally distributed to the beggar tribe, and they've actually raised these concerns, during the Sudan Track Protocol that occurred in Juba, the peace agreement. And it was, decided that they would have 50% of the resource, that comes out from that region. But it hasn't been allocated to them. And the beggar tribe, as they're saying that enough is enough. We cannot allow the rest of the country to benefit a lot more than we are, in terms of being the custodians or the tribal custodians of that region. So it is a very serious protest, which is affecting, the price of bread, the price of fuel, petrol, and other resources which comes from that area.
Few days ago, the Sudanese government announced that the country is on the verge of running out of essential medicines, fuel, and wheat. In a statement, the cabinet said that while dissatisfied eastern tribes had some valid grievances, the 2-week closure of Sudan's main port was harming the whole population. It pledged to work on a political solution to the problems of eastern Sudan and called on the protesters to start a dialogue with the government. However, members of the Berger tribe seem far from complying with the central government's request, as they barricaded roads to the port with large rocks to ensure nothing enters or exits the facility. The Berger protesters insist they will not move until the government listens to their grievances.
Sudan is faced by multiple crises, and they've been facing that since the coup d'etat, which, the military took over from Omar al-Bashir. But also the recently attempted coup has also, made situations in Sudan very fragile. The war in the, northern part of Ethiopia, in the Tigray region, which has affected a lot of displacement. A lot of the local population there have moved towards the eastern Sudan, which again stretches the economy of that particular area, which is already underdeveloped. COVID-19 is one that we cannot ignore. But this is a country that is also at the back of very powerful United Nations, sanctions and US sanctions, being accused of being a sponsor of terrorism.
Sudan is already facing shortages stemming from the economic upheaval caused by the overthrow of President Omar al-Bashir in 2019.
The Lake Chad Basin is major food production belt. Issues of insecurity and drought have impacted negatively on the basin for a long time. The third meeting of the Governors Forum on the Lake Chad Basin in Yaoundé, Cameroon, is showing more commitment to getting around these issues, with Babagana Umar Zulum of Borno State, Nigeria, advocating a sincere de-radicalization and integration of repentant insurgents in the area.
The insurgency crisis has continued to linger over the years in the Lake Chad region, affecting Nigeria, Cameroon, Niger, and Chad Republic. And according to key players, insurgency now is a major feature of the region, and if not properly managed, will be a threat to the entire West Africa. The sole use of force to curb insurgency has been able to limit the activities of insurgents, but has not been able to entirely bring an end to the incessant menace. As some of these issues have been raised and concerns for the stabilization, peace building and sustainable development of the region take center stage at the ongoing third meeting of the basin's governors, Nigeria's Borno State governor wants a social, economic and political dimension to be applied, not just the kinetic approach.
What we expect from the member nations is that we want them to provide the needed support in receiving those that are willing to surrender at their own end, keeping them for some time and handing over them to the government of Nigeria.
We'll take you to Ethiopia now, where Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed was inaugurated for a second term in office. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari delivered a goodwill message at the event.
The massive turnout of Ethiopians at the iconic Meskel Square, Addis Ababa, for the inauguration ceremony clearly shows the level of popularity, acceptability, and respectability of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed in Ethiopia, regarded as the mother of African independence. In the last parliamentary elections, for instance, that guaranteed the renewal of his mandate for a second 5-year term, his Prosperity Party recorded a landslide victory, winning 410 out of the 436 federal parliamentary seats. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is, however, beginning his new term in office at a time the nearly 1-year deadly conflict in the Tigray region is worsening humanitarian conditions in the area, weakening the economy of Ethiopia and affecting his image internationally. In a goodwill message, President Muhammadu Buhari expressed the conviction that the outcome of the elections not only reflects the people's desire for transformation, but also affirms their confidence in the Prime Minister's leadership, courage, and credentials.
We are all aware of the many challenges facing the people of Ethiopia, and we encourage all parties to come together in the interest of the unity, progress, and well-being of Ethiopia. Your Excellency, you therefore have a great opportunity to continue to work for the peace and stability of Ethiopia.
While wishing the Prime Minister a very successful tenure in office, President Muhammadu Buhari looks forward to a more fruitful and robust engagement between Nigeria and Ethiopia.
Nigeria, like many other countries, is counting on your leadership to unleash by expanding investment opportunities, deepening relations, and building trust at home and abroad. I assure you that Nigeria will continue to support the unity and territorial integrity of Ethiopia.
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who was earlier sworn in the House of the People's Representatives, pledged to execute his mandate with faith to the Constitution of Ethiopia. The challenges ahead, he emphasized, might be daunting, but not insurmountable. Several heads of state and government attended the colorful and remarkable event in solidarity.
Let's go to Kenya now, where the country is showing determination to embrace clean energy schemes to cut carbon emission by 20% on occasion of the celebration of World Habitat Day.
As Kenya joined the rest of the world in commemorating World Habitat Day, focus was on production of clean energy with Kenyan rooting for geothermal.
Today's function is a validation of the efforts we are making in having renewable energy in this country and supporting the UN SDGs.
Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia said Kenya was grappling with unpredictable weather patterns but assured of the government's commitment to the use of clean energy in a bid to reduce carbon gas emissions. Macharia stated that ferrying of cargo through the standard gauge railway and the rehabilitation of major roads has seen air pollution by motorists reduced by over 20%.
We did also implement another flagship project, the SGR, which has removed so many trucks on the road. From Mombasa, all the way to Nairobi, and now to Naivasha as well. That also has helped a lot in terms of mitigating this issue of carbon emissions.
He said the construction of 10,300 kilometers of roads had improved use of fuel, hence reducing carbon emissions.
Those roads are not just to bring development, but also they help in terms of mitigating the emissions of carbon emissions. Because if you take, for example, the roads which have been done in tarmac, it enhances fuel consumption and it reduces pollution.
Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko attributed the current drought, floods, hot waves and rising water levels in lakes to climate change, for which the government is putting in place mitigation measures.
That's our package this week. We thank you for being part of it. I am Charles Alpha.